Comic books provided by Drawn to Comics, Glendale, Arizona's premier comic book emporium.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another comics review. This is actually the last of the DC52 books that are going to be out. So this is week number 5. It's been a long haul with all these 52 books to review them, but it's the last bit, so let's go. Justice League Dark. It is, in a word or a sentence, it is Vertigo Superheroes Light. I gotta be honest, I don't like the Vertigo characters as a superhero team, especially when we're talking about John Constantine being part of a team. It just doesn't seem right, especially since normally when Constantine is with a team, they tend to, I don't know, die. So I'm curious to see maybe with another issue how it goes, but I'm not exactly what we'd call happy with it. Flash. I don't even know why we did Flash. It's kind of weak as a story. It's him running around with some other guy who he's also running with. There's this illusion of running all the time. There's another bit of time frame issue on when does this actually take place in the whole universe thing, but I can't say I really enjoyed it. I can't say I enjoyed it. All-Star Western. My goodness, I enjoyed it. And I didn't think All-Star Western I would like. I like Jonah Hex. I like the setting with old Gotham. I like kind of the teaming between Arkham and with Jonah Hex. Thought it was a pretty solid book. And it was a book, and I know this is going to sound unusual, but it was a book that took time to read. You actually had to read it. And in reading it, you got information about the town, about the people, about the actions, and so I like that. Aquaman. Kind of not. Aquaman's one of those difficult characters, and that's what the play of was going on with the book, was that Aquaman is one of these characters. He's in the sea. It's tough to relate to. I liked some of it, and I think it was more the humorous stuff I liked as opposed to the serious stuff, because it just didn't gel right. Not that I want Aquaman to be this humorous guy all the time, but there were just things that happened in the book that you said this makes no sense for because he is Aquaman. Think about it. If you're a superhero, are you going to go in your costume to a diner? And then you have people who know who you are who are asking you questions, and you're going to sit there calmly trying to eat a meal. And when it comes time to pay, you're going to pay with like bounties from the sea. That just didn't, for a humor aspect, sure, okay, that was kind of funny. But as far as a story, no. Batman Dark Knight. Again, I think writers, just if it's Batman, they go all out. Liked it. It's a Batman. So when they do Batman, it's Batman. Blackhawks. I like the Howard Chaykin Blackhawks. I'm sorry, and I know it's not the real Blackhawks. Howard Chaykin did like his own take on it, but I like those Blackhawks. This is G.I. Joe Light. It really is. I'm not really a fan of G.I. Joe, so G.I. Joe Light is even less. Maybe something will happen with the pickup, but issue 1 is what? Oh, Firestorm. Bad. Firestorm was really bad. Didn't like it. That's all I can really say. Guardians was, it was kind of like, hey, you've just been deemed the greatest Green Lantern of them all, and I'm going to give you a green ring. And all the other rings decide, hey, you're the greatest Green Lantern of all time, so we want to be with you too. Those other people that had the rings are pissed off. That's the story. It's basically one of those stories that hey, we're going to set it up so that next issue there's a big battle. That's what it was. If you like that, if you don't like it, I, Vampire. There's something about it. And this is going to sound weird as a review. There's something about it. I don't know what it is, but I kind of like it. Again, this is another one of those, it's not a Vertigo book, but it wants to be a Vertigo book, and whoever is writing it is taking the time to kind of like, let's really try for this without just basically doing it. So we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of iffy on it, on a good side. But speaking of iffy on a bad side, Hawkman. No. It's I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're going for. I don't like it. Superman. This is weird. Superman is weird because here's why it's weird. It's being done by George Perez, is doing the story as well as the breakdown art. It reads like an 80s comic. Now, what I mean by that is, it was kind of like, remember how I talked about All-Star Western and you actually had to read it to get the story? That's what it is with Superman. You have to read the story. And it's not like, whoosh, go through quick. It's a good breakdown. I think if, and this is just my opinion, but I think if all the number ones, or at least half the number ones, were in the vein of this, where the writer actually sat down and wrote the story figuring, hey, maybe you don't know all this stuff going on, so let me integrate what's going on into the story by writing it, I think a lot of the books would have been better books, because I liked the way this laid out. You didn't know at the beginning what was going on as far as where it fit in continuity and all this other stuff, but as you read it, you're like, oh, okay. Things were slowly evolved into it. And you had your nice, oh, let's have a good slugfest here, Superman slugfest. It worked. George Perez knows how to do good stories, knows how to write good stories, and is George Perez art. Hey, how could you go wrong? But speaking of sadness, and the reason why I mention sadness is because he helped bring in the Teen Titans, and now we have the new Teen Titans, which are actually the Teen Titans as opposed to the new Teen Titans. Yes, I know. Let's go through all the fun on that. How was it? It was not good. It didn't introduce all the characters, and I'm not so worried about that. But it's like, again, it's one of these, let's all fight first and then figure out what's going on, and that just gets old. And maybe it's old because I've been reading so many of these issues. But it's like, okay, so we're gonna have another fight with things. So I didn't like it. Now, remember the past few times, and I even did a special commentary on this, video commentary about the sexism at DC Comics? Well, here is the crown jewel of sexism, voodoo. The story starts off in a strip club. They show the whole stripping scene as far as where they go to the back room and do a thing. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't where you felt sleazy. So it wasn't like to that realm, but it's kind of like, wow, you have this female character, empowerment of women, blah, 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 and you have it start and have most of the story that takes place in a strip club. Wow. Didn't like it. So now guess what? I have been picking up other comics, and I'm actually going to, in a later edition, actually go through a lot of because there were a lot of comics that came out other than this that I picked up. So I'm going to go back at some point and actually go through some of those comics, probably more as a collection than as a one-on-one. But here we have Ultimate Spider-Man #2. Now, I have to say something about Ultimate Spider-Man. I am really happy with it, with the new kid learning his abilities. And what was great, there's an actual scene in the book where his father talks to him. He doesn't know, the father doesn't know he's Spider-Man or anything like that or have these abilities, but he talks about why they don't talk to his uncle and what his uncle's all about. And I read it and I liked it. I liked the way that writing was done. And even even though I thought it might have been slightly cliched when they went from that to, oh gosh, I hate the superheroes, it worked in a way. It felt like someone actually sitting down with their son doing dialogue, and I appreciated that. I appreciated the way it was written. So I can already say right now that Ultimate Spider-Man, that's going to be one of those books that's going to be on my list that I'm going to be following. So that's it. They're going to be the number 2s are going to be coming out. And I'm going to start doing a little bit more mass reviews on the number 2. So I'm not going to be doing everything every week. Probably about every 2 weeks I'll be doing mass reviews of those, of the number 2s for the 52s. And by the end of the number 2s, I will have broken down and said, these are the books I'm keeping, these are the books that are going away. Because I've got to get this down to a budget because it's very expensive to get all these books. So until next time, I'll talk to you again.